In 1587, a group of 115 English settlers, led by Governor John White, landed on Roanoke Island, off the coast of what is now North Carolina. They were determined to establish the first permanent English colony in the New World, a dream of prosperity and a new beginning. But this dream would soon curdle into one of America's most enduring and haunting mysteries. The settlers arrived with high hopes, ready to build homes, cultivate the land, and forge a new life. Among them were men, women, and children, including Governor White's own daughter, Eleanor Dare, and his granddaughter, Virginia Dare, the very first English child born in the Americas. This was not just an outpost. It was meant to be a community, a transplant of English life onto new soil. However, the colony's initial months were fraught with hardship. Supplies dwindled faster than anticipated, and the colonists struggled to grow crops in the unfamiliar soil and climate. Tensions also grew with some of the local Native American tribes, making their situation even more precarious. A secure and prosperous future seemed to be slipping through their fingers. Realizing the desperate need for more resources and reinforcements, Governor John White made the difficult decision to sail back to England. He promised to return swiftly, within a matter of months, with the supplies and people needed to ensure the colony's survival. As he departed, he left behind his family and the entire community, their faces a mixture of hope and trepidation. His journey back, however, was disastrously delayed. England was on the brink of war with Spain, and the formidable Spanish Armada was approaching. Every available ship, including White's, was commandeered for the war effort. For 3 long, agonizing years, John White was trapped in England, unable to return to his colony, his family, his people. He could only wait and worry, imagining the worst. When he was finally able to secure passage back in 1590, what he found was not a thriving settlement, but an eerie and silent ghost town. The homes and fortifications were gone, dismantled with care, not violently destroyed. There were no signs of a struggle, no bodies, no graves. It was as if the 115 men, women, and children had simply vanished into thin air. The only clue left behind was a single cryptic word carved into a wooden post of the fort's palisade: CROATOAN. The letters Crow were also found carved into a nearby tree. This was the name of a nearby island, now known as Hatteras Island, and also the name of a local Native American tribe friendly to the English. It was a prearranged signal. White had instructed the colonists that if they had to move, they should carve their destination into a tree or post. He had also told them to carve a Maltese cross if they were in distress, but no cross was found. This single word, CROATOAN, has fueled centuries of speculation and research, giving rise to several compelling theories about the colonists' fate. The most optimistic and widely discussed of these is the assimilation theory. This idea suggests that the colonists, facing starvation and uncertainty, chose to leave Roanoke Island and seek refuge with their allies, the CROATOAN people. According to this theory, they willingly abandoned their settlement and traveled south to CROATOAN Island to live among the tribe. Over time, the English settlers would have integrated into the community, intermarrying, adopting local customs, and eventually becoming one with the CROATOAN people. Their English identity would have slowly faded as they built new lives within a different culture. Evidence to support this theory has surfaced over the years. Later, English explorers and settlers in the Carolinas reported encountering Native Americans with surprisingly European features, such as gray eyes and lighter hair. Some even claimed these individuals spoke a form of English and bore surnames similar to those of the lost colonists. These accounts suggest that the Roanoke settlers did not perish but rather survived by blending into a new society. This narrative paints a picture of survival and adaptation, a testament to human resilience in the face of overwhelming odds. It transforms the mystery from a story of disappearance into a story of cultural merging, where 2 distinct groups came together to form a new, blended community. It offers a hopeful resolution to the silent abandonment John White discovered. On the other end of the spectrum lies a much darker possibility: the attack theory. This hypothesis posits that the colonists were not saved by their neighbors but were instead wiped out by a hostile force. The settlers' relationship with all the local tribes was not uniform. While the CROATOAN were friendly, others, like the CROATOAN tribe, were decidedly not. The initial English expeditions had a history of conflict and violence with some of the local populations. It's plausible that, left vulnerable and without their governor or military support, the Roanoke colonists became the target of a retaliatory attack. The settlement could have been overrun, and the colonists either killed or taken captive. This theory suggests that the CROATOAN carving was not a message of relocation, but a desperate final clue. Perhaps it was meant to name the tribe responsible for the attack. Or maybe it was a piece of misdirection left by the attackers themselves. The careful dismantling of the settlement could have been part of a ritualistic cleansing of the land after the conflict, or a way to salvage valuable materials like wood and nails. Another version of the attack theory points a finger not at Native Americans, but at the Spanish. The Spanish saw the English colony as a threat to their own claims in the New World and had a history of brutally eliminating rival settlements. A Spanish garrison in Florida might have been dispatched to destroy the Roanoke colony, leaving no trace behind to avoid provoking a war with England. However, there are no Spanish records to support such an expedition, making this a less likely, though still possible, scenario. For centuries, these theories were based on historical accounts and speculation. But in recent decades, modern archaeology has opened a new chapter in the quest for answers. Archaeologists have been meticulously excavating sites on Roanoke Island and, more importantly, on Hatteras Island, the place named in the mysterious carving. On Hatteras Island, at a site known as Cape Creek, archaeologists have unearthed a fascinating collection of late 16th century English artifacts mixed in with Native American pottery and tools. These discoveries include items like a small part of a rapier sword, writing slate, and lead shot, things that would have belonged to the Roanoke settlers. The presence of these English objects at a known CROATOAN settlement site provides the strongest physical evidence yet to support the assimilation theory. It suggests that at least some of the colonists did make their way to the island and live among the CROATOAN people. This wasn't just a brief visit. The artifacts are scattered in a way that implies long-term cohabitation. More recently, another site, designated Site X, has emerged in Bertie County, about 50 miles inland from Roanoke. This location was identified after researchers noticed a patch on one of John White's maps that seemed to indicate a planned inland fort. Excavations there have revealed more English pottery from the era, hinting that a small group of colonists may have split off and attempted to settle inland. This archaeological evidence doesn't provide a single, definitive answer, but it enriches the narrative. It suggests the colonists' fate was not a simple, singular event. It's possible that the group fractured, with some going to live with the CROATOAN on Hatteras Island, while others ventured inland, perhaps meeting a different fate entirely. The story of the lost colony may not be one of a single disappearance, but of several smaller migrations and stories of survival or demise. The mystery of the lost colony of Roanoke endures because it represents a fascinating intersection of history, archaeology, and folklore. It is America's oldest unsolved mystery, a story that began with a dream of a new world and ended in an unsettling silence. The colonists left behind a name carved in wood and a ghost story that has haunted the American imagination for over 400 years. While we may never know the full story of what happened to the 115 settlers, each new discovery brings us one step closer to understanding their fate. Piecing together the final chapter of their journey from a few scattered artifacts and a single enigmatic word. Thank you for joining us on this journey into America's oldest mystery. If you enjoy exploring the forgotten corners of history, be sure to subscribe to Historical Repo for more deep dives into the past. We'll see you in the next chapter.